everyone, it's Sharana from Pay or Wait, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Hulu limited series Little Fires Everywhere, episode 4, The Spider Web. So for this episode, I'm going to kind of save everything that's happening with the McCulloughs and Elena and Mia for last. We're going to talk about these raggedy kids first. My favorite, talking about the raggedy kids. So Lexi, she gave it up. She gave her good up to Brian. And so essentially, she's best hanging out with Lexi now. No, Lexi's hanging out with Pearl now, which has Moody heated. He is heated. He is mad, okay? Super mad. Big mad. Mad. So Lexi talking about, well, I haven't gotten a zit since we've been doing it. And then they're like, you're glowing, Lexi. And I was like, y'all are so annoying. I don't even remember being like this in high school in the first place, but whatever. Lexi is totally falling for this. She's now BFFs with all of Lexi and her friends. And so essentially, they have this idea they're going to go to this Halloween party, and so they're all excited about it. And so I felt a certain type of way because they get to the party and I see that. I was like, okay, Pearl, I see you, boo. You looking all cute and stuff. But it didn't dawn on me who she was. And then she got in the car and I was like, y'all really had her sit up here and be Scary Spice. I mean, at the end of the day, even I used to love the Spice Girls, still do. And when I watched it, I was like, I want to be Scary Spice too, because I just thought she was super fly and crazy and just had her own eccentric spirit. But I was just like, I know there's some, I just didn't understand. Then Lexi, you did not look good at Posh Spice. Your other friend, she was killing them more than you. You should have been somebody else. You really could have, she should have been like Ginger Spice. I feel like she could have been a good Ginger Spice. But I'm glad that Moody called her out, was like, hey, that is hella racist that they asked you to be Scary Spice. But then she's like, you know what? I wanted to be Scary Spice on my own. I said, okay, girl, I don't think it was your idea, but go ahead, go off on Moody. But in the midst of all of this, we see that Moody has been upset because she has been hanging around with Lexi, hasn't been hanging around her, hanging around him. Trip sees that he's upset, and so he's like, hey, I can help you, why don't you come hang with me? I can help you get her to like you. He was like, you've been friend zoned, and he's like, you just make that up. And I was like, oh, it was the 90s. I don't know if they weren't using friend zone yet in the 90s, but he basically is giving her all this stuff to do, telling Moody, hey, just ignore her, act like you don't see her at the party. And then he was like, you could never get a girl like Pearl in a million years. And this made Trip mad because Trip liked her and she liked Trip. You saw she was going to make her move on Trip at the party. And then Moody started cock blocking and popped up out of nowhere talking about, I'm finna leave. She's like, okay, bye. Out of my face. Goodbye. Let me get to your brother. But they ended up, but his sister Lexi ended up distracting her in the meantime. But they were in math class again, okay? Remember? Now, a lot of y'all did comment on my video, and you guys were like, Sharana, you think she tried to get into the math class because Trip was in it? And I was like, I didn't even think all of that. I just my girl is smart. Let her get into her Algebra 2 class. But then I was like, yo, what if y'all were right and that's really what she was trying to do? Fast. It's okay. Do what you gotta do, girl. If my crush was in the class too, I'll be getting up in that class too. I'm with you, boo. So we see that he got a D on his practice test. And so she's like, do you need me to help you? I said, okay, girl, you better go ahead and get your little tutor on with your little boo thing. And so then he was like, yeah, sure. Then they was playing my song. Show me my back with this finger. That's my song. The Fugees, baby. That was my song, my go-to song. Killing Me Softly. Yes, I don't own the rights to the song, just in case y'all try to demonetize me. But the music is popping. Who is in charge of the music? By the next video for episode 5, I'm going to figure out who's in charge of the music, because I just want to give them a virtual hug because we're social distancing. But I just want to thank you for helping me relive all the hits of the 90s. Thank you. I see you. I feel you. I appreciate you. So in the middle of her helping him, she just go right in for the kiss. I said, okay, girl, go ahead and get up in there. And then she was like, so do you want to just go to my room? I said, what we going to your room for? And then she gave him some. I said, ma'am, were you a virgin before? Because Trip would not be somebody I'm giving the Punani up to for the first time. But we see that there was trouble in paradise because for some reason Trip couldn't finish or couldn't get it up. Or keep it up, rather. And she's like, is somebody did wrong? What is happening? And he just walked. He was like, my brother likes you. Was you saying that before you put your penis out of her? Or that's just, you just thought of it now? He's like, I'm human. I was like, oh, okay, you human. all right, would you hear me before you put the condom on? Welcome to the bedroom. Like, come on, man. So, yeah. So then we see that he goes back to class. And he didn't even sit next to her. He went and sat in a whole nother part of the classroom. I was like, you are so trifling. You know what came up in my mind? You know what song they should have played, but it wasn't relevant because it wasn't in the 90s? When that came out, it was like, you made a fool of me. I feel like they should have played that, but I know it's not 90s. But it was very fitting for that moment. She was looking stupid, too. Just dumb. I don't know why she did what she did. And it's crazy because you can really see that she's trying so hard to fit in with these girls, and they're just not the best influences. But I don't know. It's just something that bothers me about why Pearl is so attached to Elena's children. And I don't know. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. It bothers me, but I know it's because she's never had friends before, so she doesn't know any better because she's never been in that situation on what like a good set of friends looks like. And it's not even about her having sex. It's just like, why did you do that? It just felt like random. Like you just did it because they doing it. And it just, I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But in the meantime, we see that Izzy's been helping Mia with her art. They've been working together. And then she also realizes that her mom knows that she's gay because, of course, her mom just can't help herself. She's so mad. And when Bill gave her that sign, I told him, all my kids can come to me. He looked like, why you sitting up prayer line like this up in bed right now? And so she left the pillow about the Lilith thing. Something they mentioned in the other episode. And then she gets upset, goes to her dad like, what the heck? And he was like, I'm sorry, it just came up. I said, can nobody come up with a good lie in this series? Everybody just trash and lying. I don't understand. Some just came up. I didn't understand, but I did like that. I guess Mia knew she was about to quit her job after all this foolishness that is happening between her and, Elena, but she left a ring for her. So I guess that did give Izzy some comfort after they kind of find out that that Mia's no longer going to be working for the Richardsons. Oh, and then random side note, when Lexi's boyfriend Brian was dressed as Bill Clinton talking about the first black president, I did feel a certain type of way, but I was like, in the 90s, people was acting like Bill Clinton was like the closest thing we would have to a black president. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and let it slide because it is what it is. But shout out, MVP of the kids is Moody for pointing out that Lexi is only friends with Pearl to streak her with her black boyfriend, and the fact that it was racist for them to ask her to be Scary Spice. I was just like, I don't understand why you let them do the things that you do. But whatever, Pearl. I'm going to pray for you, pray for everybody, especially Lexi raggedy behind. And Trip, I don't know what's going on with Trip and Lexi, but things are going to get tense because I don't know what the heck is happening at this point. So we see in the beginning of the episode, the McCulloughs, we go back to May of 92, where Linda has to give birth to her stillborn child. And so this kind of goes back to when Elena is telling Mia the backstory as to what happened to the McCulloughs, why was it such a struggle for them to have children, and why it was such a big deal that they were having the birthday party. Linda's having a very tough time with this. She's very paranoid. She's scared that they're going to take her child away from her. And it's just causing a lot of issues, and Elena feels responsible for all of this happening. And she thinks that there is a connection that Mia has to the lady that is responsible for being Mayleen's mother. So we see in the episode that BB gets in trouble. While Mia is working with Izzy, she gets a phone call. She goes to her job, and basically the boss is trying to fire her because BB was caught stealing money from the register to try to pay for a lawyer. And so they basically bribe the manager to tell him, like, we know that you're stealing cocaine, and we don't think that your parents will be okay with, you doing that in their happy family establishment. And so he decides that he's going to give her another chance. But in the meantime, Mia is trying to figure out how to get this money to help BB be able to pay for an attorney. And so she thinks that she gets this idea that she's going to try to sell some of her artwork. In the midst of all of this, she calls Anita to raise money. And then basically she says, well, you have a piece to raise $30,000. And she's like, that piece is not for sale. I thought she was talking about the piece that was over her fireplace. But then there's this other beautiful picture of her when she's pregnant. And we see the emotional connection that she has to it when she's crying, when she's boxing it up, because then she feels bad because BB says, this is all your fault that I'm going through this. I would have never been like trying to get my daughter back, or feeling the pain that I have knowing that my daughter is so close to me and I can't be with her. And so she felt bad, and she sold the pain in order to hire her an attorney to help her try to fight this case. She has nightmares. She's been having a lot of nightmares, and this nightmare specifically for this episode was that Linda came to try to take Pearl away from her. And so this is kind of some of the guilt that's resonating for kind of getting this whole situation riled up and not trying to understand the consequences, which is something that Elena does mention to her. Like, you act without thinking of the consequences and how the pieces fall after, you know, in the aftermath of what has happened. And so we see that when she goes to Elena's house, she's kind of been avoiding Elena. Elena can sense that there's some distance, and she's been avoiding her ever since the incident. And we see that when Elena gets the police report, she kind of sees a description of Mia's car and the bumper sticker as well. And so they get into this big blow up. But before the blow up, Mia goes to her house and she's taking all these random items from everybody's room. I was like, why are you taking her sticky notes? She didn't took the girl's hosiery. She didn't took something out of Izzy's room. I was like, what are you doing? Is this for your art piece? Like, what is happening right now? And why do you think that her little OCD behind is not going to realize that her stuff is missing from her drawers and all over the house? I just don't understand why she was doing that. Hopefully by next week's episode, we'll try to understand what is actually happening, okay? So they basically end up getting into it in the kitchen. And so Mia was like, hey, you know, I'm trying to raise some money. And, you know, they want me to sell some of my paintings. But I was like, before I was saying sell it to a random person, I thought I would sell it to a friend. And Elena was like, friend? And I was like, friend? Who friends? She was like, we friends? Because it seemed like you've been trying to avoid me a whole lot, and I don't understand what is happening. And then she's like, how's your friend Linda? And she was like, yeah, speaking of Linda, you haven't mentioned anything about her. If you know that she's one of my close friends, like, why haven't you brought up what happened to her, what happened at the birthday party? Like, you haven't said anything. So I see that in the midst of all of this, they end up having this big blowout, and she's basically like, you know, I don't think this is going to work out anymore. And then she was like, I was never your friend in the first place. I was like, Mia, honey, sis, you was just trying to get her about pay. Now you up here trying to go off on her. And then she was talking about white women always want to be friends with they maids. And then she was like, I was your house manager. And then she basically says, like, I quit. I'm done. She's like, yeah, I don't think you should come back. She was like, you think? So they had this big blow up, and I was just like, y'all so fake in the first place. I don't even understand. But they get into it because she was like, we come from very different walks of life. And in Elena's mind, that's Linda's child. And then Mia is basically like, she gave birth to the child. You don't know her background. You don't know what she was going through. You don't know anything that has happened. There's the circumstances that could have led her to where she was. And because you've lived a life where you've had multiple choices and options outside of people like us who do not have the money or the privilege to live a life where we can choose which path or course that our life is going to take, you don't understand what it feels like. And so it's interesting because Linda keeps saying, this is my child, this is my child, this is my child. And I do understand, like, you left your baby outside in the winter, like on a doorstep of the fire station. I get both sides in this. But at the end of the day, she is her biological mother, and she did what she could do. I feel like this is Losing Isaiah all over again. If y'all ever watched Losing Isaiah with Halle Berry, it's actually a really good movie. I thought it was one of Halle Berry's best performances that I've seen in her career. So I think it's very interesting to see how this will play out. But we see that Mia raised enough money to help get her an attorney. And I was like, baby, this attorney working, okay? They didn't have the news crew come and find Linda while she's taking a baby on a walk, talking about, how does it feel? Do you know that the mother is missing her child? All this stuff. Then they talked, because Elena then talked her into her head to try to pay the lady. So then BB told the lawyer that they tried to pay her. Husband looking at her crazy. I'm looking at her crazy. Izzy looking at her crazy. Like, girl, are you serious? You crazy. So it's a whole crazy mess now. I don't know what's going to happen. It seems like BB might get Maylu. I think it's Maylu. Maylu, I think it's Maylu. She might get her baby back. I don't know what's going to happen. You feel for Linda and Mark, but at the end of the day, did y'all go through the right adoption process? Because they didn't say that they had officially adopted her yet. So I'm trying to figure out what happened in the first place, and maybe they'll go to a backstory of that next week's episode to try to show us like what happened from when the baby showed up at the police, at the fire department, to like when the McCulloughs got to the child. But I don't know. Some don't seem right, but I just hope that it plays out in the best way possible. But now lines have been drawn. Elena and Mia are basically enemies now. She tells Pearl that she can't go over there. Pearl just talking out the side of her neck. She's like, you better watch your mouth, okay? Because, you know, if it's my mama, either she would have did this or you got popped in the back. But actually, when I had braces, she stopped popping me because she was like, I ain't going to mess up my money trying to get your teeth straight. So then she started doing this to me, and I don't like people touching my head because it just takes me back to that moment. Childhood trauma. I know. But it's interesting to see how all of that is essentially going to play out. And then when Elena called me a bad mother, I was like, girl, didn't you just call her a good mother in episode 2 season now? Talk about Pearl is such a good person. She has a great mother. Now you talk about she a bad mama. Girl, both of y'all bad mothers, okay? Both of y'all got problems. I'm going to try to say y'all doing the best that y'all can do, but y'all both can use a little work in the motherhood department on both ends, okay? So Pearl's all upset. Pearl had the audacity to sneak out of the dang old house, go to Elena's house, and then try to be all up in there, which is too much because you only doing that because Tripp not talking to you. He didn't sit next to you. So I'm giving her a side eye as well. Like, girl, have some dignity, okay? And then when Mia popped up on Pearl, Pearl looked out the window. She was like, get in the car. I felt that. Elena, you wrong too, because I don't know why you didn't call her mother. You know her mama was not going to be okay with her going up to your house after y'all just got into it. Why are you doing all of this? So I thought it was shady and raggedy on her end, but we already know she trash as well. Okay, trying to pay a mother. When BB was like, how much would you sell your kids for? I was like, thank you, BB. Get her all the way together. Talking about 10,000. 10,000? To get you my kid? 10,000? Nah, homie, you better come correct next time, okay? Don't do that no more. Don't do it no more. But Pearl, I was like, girl, get your life together too. Because the mom was like, hey, be outside. I'm going to be here to pick you up from school too since you sitting up here running away and stuff. Huh. The nerve. The audacity for her to even do any of this. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting episode. Things are starting to heat up now. We saw from the previews for the rest of the season, Elena like trying to get Pearl taken away from Mia, like all types of crazy stuff. I really want to see how this whole Tripp, Moody, and Pearl love triangle is going to play out. What's going to happen when Moody finds out that Pearl, child, I can't get nobody's names together. I must be really sleepy. That Pearl didn't smash the brother. She didn't smash the home, but she smashed the brother. So I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen with that. And then the drama with the lawyers and all of that. Who going to end up getting this baby? Now I got to go watch Losing Isaiah because this whole storyline is giving me Losing Isaiah vibes. But yeah, we still got to figure out who the heck Jesse Williams is, who Anika Noni Rose is, who Tiffany Boone is. This episode 4, I need more answers. I'm not getting enough answers on Mia's past, but I guess when Elena starts digging, that's when we're going to get all the tea, and I'm going to be here for it. But I'm here for this drama. Give me some drama. Just, ooh, this is what I'm here for. We're getting to the nitty gritty, and I'm excited. I love this episode. I think I still like the previous episode more than the spider web, but for the whole love triangle mess with Tripp, Pearl, and Moody, I'm here for that. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about it. Who you think gonna prevail? Who Pearl gonna end up with? Is she gonna end up with Moody? She gonna end up with Tripp since he done dumped her? I don't know what's happening. Or why do you feel like Tripp couldn't get it up? Is it because he liked her too much? Because he knew he was raggedy for doing this to his brother? Like, what was happening? Or was he a virgin and he just had never had sex before? Like, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But those are pretty much my thoughts on Little Fires Everywhere, episode 4, The Spider Web. As always, my name is Sharana from PR Waits, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit the notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.